Hey folks, how you doing? It's Deepak Shukla here from Accountants Rock, and I'd like to welcome you to It's All About the Arse. This is the application success system that is guaranteed to skyrocket your chances of success with Deloitte, KPMG, Ernst & Young and PwC. So, if you're looking to get a job at one of these firms that collectively are considered and called the Big Four, then this is the place you need to be. At whatever level you're applying, this is the place you need to be. So, who am I? I'm a former Deloitte employee in tax. I worked in the London office in employment consulting opportunities. Before that, I was an intern. It was an audit and tax rotation program. I did it just after my second year of studying English literature at Warwick University. And since then, and most recently, I've been successfully helping applicants land places at the Big Four. So, I've helped multiple people land places, land jobs, of course, as you'd expect, Deloitte first and foremost, as well as Ernst & Young, KPMG and PwC. So I'm really excited about this program that I'm going to be sharing with you, and what I want to do today is just, first of all, to underline the fact that if you want a place at one of these four firms, it is no easy task, but through the process of this course, I want to make it that much easier for you, because I know that there's a ton of people out there, having been not only a Warwick graduate, but also an art student, that, meant applying was not a straightforward process. So, I've been through my own set of problems. I've seen the other problems that candidates have had, whether it's related to not having the right experience, not having the right degree course, not being to the right university, not getting a right grade, not having enough work experience, not being interesting or exciting or amazing enough, whatever it might be. I've seen all of these problems, and I really want to underline the fact that through this course, you are going to massively improve your chances of getting in at one of the Big Four firms, and indeed, even if you so choose, somewhere completely different as a result of the advice that you're going to receive through the course of this program. So it's a 12-week program, and you have two options. You can receive this program for free, that's right, entirely for free, or you can go ahead and purchase it now and pay whatever you want. The only difference is if you would like to get it for free, of course, then it will be coming out to you once a week over a 12-week period. So you're going to get an email once a week, every week for 12 weeks. Alternatively, if you just want the information now, you want to get going, you want to get your place, book it in and win, one of the places at the Big Four, then you can go ahead and purchase now from the button you'll see just below on this page. So, let me tell you about what we're going to be going through the course of this program. So, week one, we're going to be talking about how to make your CV smoking hot. Very simply, your CV is it's the most important thing that any recruiter will potentially see when they're making their decision about you. And certainly, it's a requirement not only at the Big Four, but a ton and then some of other top tier companies. So the things that we're going to be going through is how to center your CV about how you can contribute to a company's success. I'm going to talk to you about the achievements and what kind of things that you could be putting on your CV, and the ways that you could bring out things that you've achieved that you probably or might not even be aware of. We're going to talk about also how interesting you are, and refrain from listing a bunch of skills that might not necessarily equate with the actual experiences that you've had, or if they indeed do, it's not clear from your current CV. So we're going to make your CV smoking hot, basically. In week two, we're going to be talking about why the industry. So, whether it's a cover letter or a question, this basically comes up in every company you'll apply for, being honest, you know, why the industry, why the company, of course, as well. So basically, when we talk about industry, you know, particularly for myself being, for example, an English literature student, it's not obvious why I would, for example, want to go and apply at Deloitte. But equally, if you're an accounting and finance graduate, or you're a finance or econ or business management graduate, you do need to consider and develop an answer as to why the industry, because if you're saying the same thing that everybody else is saying, or you're not saying anything at all, then in this day and age when these companies have an application acceptance rate that's lower than Harvard, it's incredible, isn't it? It's harder to get into Harvard. It's easier to get into Harvard than it is to get into a Deloitte or one of the other, you know, big four firms. So we're going to be going through, you know, why the industry, and we're going to be discussing the strategies that I employ to make references to the not so obvious things about what you've done and what, you know, the company and industry offers that can relate to this question. So that's week 2. In week 3, we're going to be answering that good old question. Well, okay, you've answered why the industry. Now the question is why us? And I'm going to go through some specific strategies that you can employ to get really wicked company research. Now, this isn't the standard, okay, let's look at your graduate page and see exactly what the program offers. Let's have a look at some of the awards that you've won, and that will be the extent of many people's research. We're going to go further and deeper with this, and I'm going to show you the things that you can look for consistently across all of these companies to make sure that you come out on top. Of course, once you have the question asked of why us, then you've got the whole area of the business area that you're applying to. So for example, I went on to work in tax, and as you can imagine, that involved building a lot of industry and domain specific knowledge in regards to that area. And as you can probably appreciate, my course, whilst I was at university, in my instance, studying literature, did not in any way prepare me for answering this question. So we're going to go through some business area deep sea diving and talk about the things that you need to be saying in an interview when someone asks you, what do you know about tax? What do you know about audit? What do you know about tax at KPMG? What do you know about audit at Ernst & Young? What do you know about remuneration tax consulting at Ernst & Young? What do you know about corporate audit or finance and restructuring at Deloitte? You know, whatever it might be, my point is we're going to, you know, talk about strategies that you can use to make sure that you nail any of those questions to the wall. Now, the next thing that we're going to cover, as you can imagine, is the good old assessment center. You've got, you know, the E-tray exercise, or they may even call it the SJT now, the situational judgment test. But basically, there's going to be a series of on-the-spot assessments they're going to be using to measure your ability by presenting you with some form of business case. And the interesting thing is that this is something that I'm really excited to discuss with you, because it relates to things that you won't have even covered whatever course that you've done. A lot of this relates to what I'd like to call street smarts, and I will show you the correct methodology to beat out the assessment center. So, week 6, numerical reasoning, numerical reasons 2. We're going to be talking about how to beat the good old numerical reasoning test, and I'm going to take you through my strategies, especially being an English literature student, that I used to make sure that I could get through those tests. So, become a verbal ninja, week 7. So week 7 we're going to be talking about the numerical reasoning test, also how to find what I'd like to call the needle in the haystack in terms of the correct keywords that you need to be looking at when you get those questions that come up, to understand what the marker/examiner wants from you in terms of an answer, because it isn't so obvious, and this is an area that I know that many people do fail upon. So, of course, we've got the whole area of interviews, beating competency questions and how to work through them, preparing for questions that are going to come up, you know, whether it's leadership, communication, teamwork, making difficult decisions, all of these kinds of areas. Again, there are ways that we can make sure that you are ready and set to answer practically any question that they ask you, and do so to an incredibly high level. Week 9, coping with failure. This relates to all of the really difficult interview and competency questions that we don't like. You know, when they put you on the spot, when they throw you off, or of course when they ask you, how do you cope with failure? Tell me about the last time that you made a mistake. What have you done badly? Tell me about your weaknesses. We could continue, right? We're going to go through how to answer many of these questions to make sure that even if you are caught on the spot, you'll never feel like you've been caught on the spot, because you'll have answers ready to make sure that you hit home any of these questions. So, week 10, the final interview. They'll ask you questions such as, perhaps, why are you here? I mean, certainly in my case, that was one of the questions I was asked as an art student. And you're going to some degree have to expect the unexpected. The final interview could be anything. I mean, my final interview was 90 minutes long. That's correct, it was 90 minutes long. We covered all kinds of stuff, and it was pretty exhaustive and intensive for me. And I'll talk you through some of the interview strategies that you can employ based upon all of the previous weeks' knowledge that we've been going through, as to how to make sure that you can expect the unexpected, draw upon the reservoir of questions and answers that you put together to make sure that you can really hit home in this interview. So, week 11, you've applied, gone through the whole interview process, you've met the partner, the director, the senior director, whoever it might be that had interviewed you, and now you're just waiting to see if you've got the job or not. And there are things you can do in this period to make sure that you create a really good impression, and there are definitely ways to not do it. So we're going to discuss the follow-up done correctly, because when they remember you, that's when things happen. And week 12, I'm also going to discuss coping with career failure, or indeed, of course, success. I want to talk to you about what to do and what you can still do even if for whatever reason it hasn't worked out, and next steps to keep on seeing if you can find a way to get a job at the Big Four, because the formal recruitment process, as we know, or as you might not know, is just the beginning, and that's what we're going to be going through in the final week. So, my name's Deepak Shukla. I hope you like the AS system. It's all about the AS, as I said, and if you're interested in purchasing now, you can click the button just below or head over to this link just here. Pause the video, check that link, and if you're interested in making sure that you can get a job at Deloitte, KPMG, Ernst & Young, or PwC, this system, this application success system, will definitely, absolutely, 100% increase your chances of success of getting a job with one of these 4 companies. Thank you so much.